Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to welcome you to the launch of two new landmark reports by the United Nations Development Programme, generously supported by the Kingdom of the Netherlands and Sweden. They provide new insights into what drives people towards violent extremism and how violent extremist groups operate. Crucially, these reports fill a gap in knowledge and offer solutions to this global scourge where very often speculations are driving our understanding. A surge in violent extremism is having a devastating impact on lives, livelihoods, and prospects for peace and development across the continent of Africa today. Nearly half of all global terrorism-related deaths were recorded on the African continent in the year 2021. To address the underlying causes of violent extremism, there is an acute need to listen to and understand the narratives of those who voluntarily join these groups. Without this information, we are missing a critical part of this complex equation. That was the aim of UNDP's groundbreaking Journey to Extremism Report in 2017. Building on this research, this latest in a series of reports draws upon interviews with over 2,000 respondents in 8 countries across Africa, including a larger number of women interviewees. It investigates what pushes people to the brink of recruitment and ultimately the turning point towards disengagement. 71% of voluntary recruits who experienced a triggering event told researchers that human rights abuses or a government action, such as the arrest of a family member, led them to go closer or to join an extremist group. A lack of job and livelihood opportunities is also a key factor. This is reflective of economic hardship amongst the broader community, further exacerbated by socioeconomic injustice or marginalization. These findings reflect a shift from the common narrative that often places religious ideologies as a chief motivating factor for voluntary recruits. In many ways, a toxic mix is being created of poverty, of exclusion, abuse, and hopelessness into which extremist narratives can then land. It drives communities to guardingly accept some measure of predictability and security in the midst of chaos, even at the expense of living under the thumb of these often violent extremist groups. The second complementary report examines the emergence of violent extremist groups as proto-state structures. They often offer parallel basic services and prey on local grievances to entrench their political grip on communities. Recognizing these push and pull factors, the report highlights the urgent need to move away from solely security-driven responses to more development-based approaches focused also on prevention and addressing many of the drivers or push factors that people have cited. That includes greater investment in basic services, including child welfare and education, as well as rehabilitation and community-based reintegration services. Remarkably, the analysis projects that an extra year in school decreases the odds of voluntary recruitment by a surprising 13%. UNDP's Global Prevention of Violent Extremism Programme integrates efforts on jobs and livelihoods, governance, education, and social cohesion so that young people themselves can advance their vision of a better world. To take just one example, look to Tanzania, where UNDP, in collaboration with the government, offered gender-balanced peer mentoring and vocational training to hundreds of at-risk young people. After the training, the unemployment rate dropped from 52% to 18%. UNDP is also pushing new frontiers. In line with our new crisis offer, we are pioneering the integration of mental health and psychosocial support in peacebuilding. We are also addressing hate speech and online radicalization through data and artificial intelligence. And we are applying behavioral science insights to enhance the impact of our programs. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today is also a moment to remember the many victims of terrorism and violent extremism, families destroyed and lives shattered. In many ways, this report is helping to advance solutions to prevent this needless and tragic loss of life. It will also help to redirect resources and finances towards the global goals, our shared plan for a more peaceful and sustainable future for all. Indeed, violent extremism is not confined to a specific country or region. It is rather a shared burden that humanity as a whole must now respond to. The human stories in these reports provide an evidence base on the need for renewed international focus and finance and understanding to address the underlying drivers of violent extremism. This focus on prevention is more critical than ever, being aptly described by the UN Secretary General as the very reason that the United Nations exists. Thank you.